Hey guys, thanks for tuning in for some moments of mindfulness today. Let's recap what we talked about last time. We studied 3 parts of our brain: the amygdala, which acts as our security guard when we're in danger, the hippocampus, where our memories are stored, kind of like our scrapbook, and our prefrontal cortex. That's the part of our brain we're using and activating when we're learning something new or making good decisions. We focused on our amygdala, our security guard, and talked about how it activates when we're in danger and protects us if we're in real danger. For instance, if we hear a car honk, our amygdala allows us to quickly make a decision to get out of the road. When our fire alarm goes off in the middle of the night, our amygdala is what allows us to wake up quickly and get to safety. So our amygdala is really important. It keeps us safe, so we definitely want that. However, the tricky part comes in because the amygdala doesn't understand the difference between true danger and just being a little bit scared about something. For instance, when we're running late or we forget an assignment, sometimes our amygdala activates and we feel like we're in real danger. And then we freeze, we fight, or we flee. Those are not going to help us in the situation of being late or forgetting an assignment. In those instances, we need to deactivate our amygdala and move into our prefrontal cortex. Being mindful is all about observing and noticing what's going on in our brain. It's about noticing when our amygdala is activated. It's about noticing when we are in our prefrontal cortex, when we feel safe, and when we notice what options we have to solve any problem that arises. Once we notice what's going on in our brain, once we notice that our amygdala has been activated, then we can stop and just ask ourselves, is this a life or death situation? Are we in real danger? Here's a fun fact. The simple art of noticing when our amygdala is activated and asking ourselves if we're in real danger and deciding whether or not we are is the best way to move into our prefrontal cortex. It's pretty easy if we can just be mindful about what's going on in our brain. Here's an example of what that might look like in our real lives. Let's say that it's Monday morning and you're getting ready for school, but you didn't get in a good night's sleep. You didn't get up when the alarm went off, and so now you're running a little bit behind. All of a sudden, you hear mom call, "Hey, it's time to go. We're running late. Hurry up." What do? If you stop and ask yourself, is this a life or death situation? Hopefully, you'll move into your prefrontal cortex. Realize that all this is because you didn't get a good night's sleep and you didn't wake up with your alarm, and you can think through problem-solving steps to make sure it doesn't happen tomorrow. You can go as fast as you can, go downstairs and say, "I'm sorry, Mom, I didn't sleep well and then I didn't get up with my alarm, and here's how I'm going to solve that problem next time to make sure that I don't do that again." Unfortunately, a lot of the times when a similar situation like that happens, your amygdala gets activated and you don't know that it's activated. So guess what? Guess what you do? Well, sometimes when your amygdala is activated, it decides that you should flee in this situation. And here's what that would look like. When mom calls you, yells and says, hurry up, you would just go about your business, get stuff as fast as possible, get down to the car, and pretend that nothing happened. You wouldn't acknowledge to mom that you slept in and didn't get up on time. You wouldn't ask yourself, how can I make sure this doesn't happen again? You'd just get in the car and pretend like nothing happened. A lot of times pretending that nothing happened is because your amygdala is activated and you are fleeing. So you might be thinking, hey, that's not so bad. I got in the car, I'm on my way to school. What's the big deal? Well, that's true. Your amygdala did keep you out of immediate danger. However, since you didn't ask yourself, why did this happen? It's likely that you are going to continue to encounter that problem over and over again, that mom is going to continue to get frustrated with you, and the situation may continue to get worse. True learning does not occur unless you get into your prefrontal cortex and ask yourself, how can I make this situation better right now by acknowledging to mom why you were late, and by figuring out what can I do to make sure this does not happen again. Let's go back to that original problem. You're late and mom has yelled and said, hey, it's time to go. What would it look like if you decided to fight? Well, you might yell down at mom and say, all right, I'm coming, hold on. and then you might start to slam things around and then stomp down and go and get in the car. I don't think that's a good decision in this situation. Sure, you're going to get to school, but wow, there are going to be some hurt feelings. And even more than that, not only are there hurt feelings, you haven't gotten into your prefrontal cortex. You haven't asked yourself, hey, how did I get into this situation? And what can I do to make sure that it doesn't happen again? What can I do next time in order to be in the car on time? All right, now your last option when your amygdala is activated is to freeze. And what does freezing look like in this situation? Well, it doesn't look like actually freezing. It's not like you're going to freeze and not move at all. But what happens is that your body starts to move even slower than usual. So instead of hurrying up and getting in the car as fast as possible, you actually are going slower than you were when your mom started yelling. And so now it's taking you even more time. Mom is getting even more and more frustrated, and you are even more and more late. That's not going to solve any problems either. Not only is mom upset, you're upset, and you're late. But you, again, haven't asked yourself, how did I get into this situation? And you haven't come up with a solution to make sure that it doesn't happen again. That is the opposite of being mindful. Another thing I like to do when I'm in my prefrontal cortex is ask for advice. So it would be really cool if you asked, hey, Mom, can you give me some pointers on how I might get ready and not be late anymore? Because I'm trying to figure out what the solutions could be. Here's what I came up with. Do you have any other ideas? Sometimes when our amygdala is activated, when we make a mistake and someone's upset with us, we get a little bit scared, and it's really tricky to move into our prefrontal cortex. The first step is to notice that you're in your amygdala and to ask yourself, is this life or death? Most of the time it's not. And so hopefully you can move into your prefrontal cortex. But sometimes even when you know that it's not life or death, it feels really scary, and it's hard to deactivate our amygdala. One thing that I like to do when I notice that my amygdala is activated and I try telling myself, you're okay, you're safe, but it still feels really scary, I like to do a big belly breath. And the reason I like a big belly breath is because I can do it anywhere and no one has to know I'm doing it. You may have guessed that a big belly breath has to do with our belly. You're right. So what we do when we're making a big belly breath is we're sitting up or standing up straight, and we're going to take a big deep breath and try to make our belly rise. If you're somewhere where you can, put your hands on your belly as you breathe in, and then breathe out. Breathe in again, and breathe out. One more time, because third time's the charm. Big belly breath, and breathe out. Big belly breaths take less than a minute to do 3 big belly breaths, and it immediately moves us from our amygdala into our prefrontal cortex. So it is a really efficient and fast way to deactivate our amygdala when we're scared or under stress. So I encourage you to start to pay attention to when your amygdala is activated and ask yourself, is this life or death? And if not, go ahead and try to move into your prefrontal cortex, maybe by taking big belly breaths, and then ask yourself, number 1, how did I get into this situation? Where did I go wrong? And number 2, what can I do to make sure it doesn't happen again? What can I learn from this situation? Thanks for joining me for these moments of mindfulness. Don't forget to lead your best life, find your bliss, and pay it forward.